Is a dry spell being the same as being an incel? Is a dry spell, going through a dry spell, not getting laid, not having sex, is that the same as being an incel? In my opinion, it's not. In my opinion, no. To me, an incel is more of a guy, I mean, yes and no. Like on the one hand, being an incel is more of a guy who couldn't get laid ever in his whole life. That to me is more like an incel, like guy who's like a kissless virgin. I mean, there's a different, and the reason why I say that is because in today's day and age, well, first of all, the term incel is derogatory. I don't like it. It's because any guy can be an incel at any given moment in their life. Just because you don't have a girl in your life that you're regularly having sex with doesn't necessarily mean you're a loser, or you have a bad character, or there's just something wrong with you inherently. First of all, that's a mean thing to say to someone. I mean, it's really cold, and it's meant to just totally dismiss and demolish the person. Really, it's one of the worst things you can really call a man, because our identity, unfortunately, this sucks because, you know, we live in such a gynocentric society, and maybe this is because, maybe this definitely plays into that gynocentrism. Our identity really is, as a man, is centered around our masculinity, our libido, our testosterone, and all that is linked to how much we get laid. I mean, guys go to the gym religiously. They don't go to church religiously. They don't worship God religiously. They go to the gym religiously so they can get laid. So it's almost like they're worshiping sex, right? And we do worship sex in the West. That's a great argument. That's a fact. And women know this, and they take advantage of it. That's why gynocentrism is a thing, because we worship sex in the West. So can you really say a guy who's not getting laid, can you really call him an incel? I mean, technically, yes, that's an incel. Technically, yes. If you are trying to get laid and it's not working, yes, technically you are an incel, at least insofar as, you know, the modern term is understood. Of course, celibacy is by definition voluntary. So the term incel is actually an oxymoron. It really isn't a functioning, word that really makes sense, because, again, celibacy is voluntary. So if you're an involuntary celibate, it cancels itself out. You're just a guy who's not getting laid. But since it's a popular word, we'll all use it, and we could talk about it. But so again, I don't think that a guy who's going through a dry, now the reason why I bring this up is because it's very common for guys to go through dry spells. Now, I've had dry spells that were a few weeks. I've had dry spells that were a few months, and I've had dry spells that were years. I've been through 5-year dry spells before. I've gone through periods that were, I went a couple months after I lost a girlfriend. I went a couple months and then I got laid, or I went 6 months and then I found another girlfriend. That's a dry spell. 5 years, yeah, I mean, that's, I guess you could say it's a dry spell, but at the same time, like, that's probably, there's something going on in your life that you need to fix. And if you don't, then you might just very well become perennial long-term incel. But here's the thing. Here's the thing here's the thing that I would say, the reason why I think, and I've noticed this now, I don't know if any other guys notice this, but I think as a trend in the last 5 years, it's been harder to get laid. At least for me. Now, that could be personal. That could be something personal that I've went through. It's just been harder, and I think it could be because the dating sites and the dating game is saturated. And I think that that's because more people than ever in history are going online. And I think more people ever in history are not getting married. So because of that, there's more of an influx in the date. There's more competition. So guys who might have been a 6 or a 7 in physical looks, they're getting edged out by fiercer competition. And also, I think it's harder than ever to compete financially, because now there's so much competition financially because it's an easier time than ever in history to become a millionaire. I think that, you know, nowadays, if you got a good idea or you got a good personality, whatever, you can get on YouTube and you can become a millionaire. You can become a YouTube content creator. And so what that means is there's more financial competition. And the guys who make more money are the ones who are going to be pulling the women. And the guys who are, you know, have higher status, who are more popular, are going to be pulling the women over guys who are just average nobodies who work down at the tire shop or whatever, right? So this is what I've experienced in the last 5 years. So I've had to step my game up, and it's been hard. I've had to buy better clothes. I've had to hit the gym harder. Also, I'm getting older. I don't care what anybody says. Men don't hit the wall as hard as women, but we age, and as we age, we get less popular. The older a guy is, the less popular he is, unless he's got money, he's got a lot of money. If you're an older guy and you got a lot of money, then you're sought after. But if you're an older guy and you don't have that status, you don't have that money, your value, so your sexual and dating market value isn't gonna be able to compete with a guy who's 25, because his youth alone speaks volumes. Oh, this guy's 25. Well, he's got his whole life ahead of him. He's got all kinds of potential, and he's virile, and he's young, and he looks the best he'll ever look. Now, guys do age like wine. I will say that's true. But again, a guy who's 35, 40, he's not going to be as young, strong, and virile and look as healthy as a guy who's 25. That's just a fact. So a guy who's 25, he can get by on just his looks and be a dumb idiot and be a loser, not have money. But if he's 25 and he's virile, he can fulfill her physical, right? Alpha fucks, beta bucks. So if he's still got that young alpha testosterone body, he's going to be competing with guys who are 35, 40, who've got the bucks, who've got the money, who've got the status. He can compete in that area. And because people aren't marrying anymore, because people are walking away from marriage, you know, both men and women are, but hopefully a lot more men are, because it really doesn't benefit us. Hopefully they are, but because that is the case, the dating game it's more influx. So you got more competition. So can we really fairly say that a guy who's going through a 6-month dry spell, is he really an incel? Maybe temporarily he's an incel. Maybe he's a guy who can get laid, who has gotten laid, who's going through a dry spell. I've met guys who've gone through 10-year dry spells. All right, I don't really consider those guys to be kissless virgin, Elliot Rodger type incels. I think that for the average man, it can easily be very difficult in the dating game. It can easily be very hard. And like I said, I've noticed this the last 5 years. It's been real hard. Women have been, their standards have been harder than ever. Now I have aged the last 5 years. That's true. You know, the last 5 years I've been over age 30. Before that, I was under age 30, and I was a wild bad boy, right? And I've matured since some of these bad relationships that I've been in. So maybe I'm not the same guy. That could be. So, you know, we got to step our game up. But then, you know, here's a different angle to look at it from. Is not banging sluts, is that really such a bad thing? Right? Can we really say that, oh, you're not getting laid, so therefore you have no value, you have no worth, you're not that cool of a guy, whatever? Or, you know, can we really dismiss somebody based on the fact that they're not getting laid, which is what I see in society. I see people, oh, well, you're an incel, so therefore you're just not important. You're just not that, you're not cool. Nobody wants to hang around you, whatever. Like you have, it's almost like saying you have to be rich in order to be rich, right? Like you have to have money in order to make money. Like you have to have some clout and credit before you can get any clout and credit. It's a weird thing, man. It's like, can we really say somebody has no worth or no value as a man if he's not getting laid? I don't think so. I don't think it works like that. I think that particularly in today's day and age, well, at least for me as a red pill guy, I would say if a guy's not getting laid, like, I'm for sure not going to look down on him. For sure. I'm for sure not going to, oh, dude, you know, you're a loser, I'm not going to talk to you. Or like, that's something that women do. That's something that these women do. That's something that these male feminists do. Like, oh, you're probably an incel. You're probably not even getting laid. You can't even get a girlfriend. Like, it's something that people say to bully you. It's something that people say to put you down. So that's not me. Like, I'm not that kind of like anybody. Like, I went through, when I was younger, I went through long periods of not getting laid. And then I came into the dating game where I did something different. I changed up my attitude. I studied some PUA material. I learned some tricks. I learned some mindsets, and it helped me get laid. Right? But again, that's not, I mean, you know, it does have to do with your relative attractiveness. Guys who are below an 8 have a lot more, you know, they're probably going to be incels. It's going to be a lot more likely that they're going to be incels than guys who are an 8 who are an 8 and above. So, you know, you gotta, that's the other thing. Like, is that really such an insult? Because, like, women, it's easy for women to get laid. So for them to call you an incel is almost like calling, you know, it's almost like a rich guy calling a poor guy poor. Like, well, yeah, you were born rich. You have money, or you didn't work for it. You know, like, your parents had money, your parents owned companies, and you inherited the money. Like, women don't have to work for sex. So for a woman to call a man an incel is really kind of frivolous. It's just stupid. It's like, yeah, no, you know, no shit. No shit that you wouldn't be an incel. You're a woman. Like, even ugly women get sex. It's retarded. So for them to call you an incel is really not that, you know, there's not that much power and weight behind it. Okay, so, you know, again, if you're ever speaking the red pill truths like I do, and you're standing up for men's issues, they will call you an incel. They will insult you. They will try to put you down in that way, right? But it's not that big a deal because, you know, again, they're not working for sex. They're not working for it. All they're doing is getting on a dating dating site and saying yes. And their attitude is narcissistic. They act with impunity. They act like they run the world or something. And in a sense, they kind of do, because pussy is so powerful. But that's our mistake as men. We need to take the pussy off the pedestal. We need to stop putting so much emphasis on sex and giving them all our power and all our resources. That we have to stop that. I mean, that's why they treat us like dirt. And I hear so many women constantly saying, well, men still try to marry me. Men are still coming after me. Men are still putting me on a pedestal. And I look at them and I'm like, well, what are you bringing to the table? Like, okay, you're good looking, cool, but what else? Like, you're not a good person. Clearly, I can tell by the way you're talking. You're disrespectful. You're selfish. You got a narcissistic personality. Like the world revolves around you. If it's not narcissistic, at least it's solipsistic. So it's like, what's the point? What are you even arguing for? It's silly. It's like, okay, you want us to worship you. We get it. I'm not going to do that, so go fuck off. Like, I'm going to continue to speak my truths. I'm going to continue to share red pill truths and stand up for men because we fucking deserve it, because we work hard and we have more value than what we're getting. And I'm going to continue to tell men, hey, stop putting out for these bitches. Stop paying their rent. Stop paying their way. Stop putting them on a pedestal. Stop treating them like they're queens when they're nothing more than sluts. They're nothing more than bitches with a bad attitude. And they've been that way for 20, 30 years, since second wave feminism and third wave feminism totally ruined them. And now these feminists are coming out and saying, oh, we didn't really mean believe all women. Because now there's a lot of negative backlash from that, because women are lying and they're using it like Amber Heard, and they're using it to manipulate men and harm men. and they're causing problems, and someone's gonna get fucking sued. You know, someone's gonna get their platform taken away because, you know, just like they did Alex Jones, because you're putting out dangerous ideologies. These feminists are putting out dangerous ideologies, man. You know, believe all women no matter what, and that shit actually holds up in court without any actual tangible physical evidence. Come on, bro, we got issues. But anyway, so as far as the incel thing goes, man, you know, it's hard out here for a man. It's hard. Men can go long periods without getting laid very easily, man. I really do think that's the case. So careful who you call an incel. I mean, maybe they are technically temporarily an incel, but that doesn't mean that they can never get laid. It doesn't mean they never have gotten laid, and it doesn't mean they don't have any worth either, man. That's a fucked up thing to say. That's like, I think calling somebody an incel really is on par with racism. It really is. It's very similar. It's very similar to, it's bigotry. Bottom line, it's bigotry. Oh, you can't get laid, therefore you're an incel. Therefore you're a lesser human being or something. It's fucked up. It's fucked up, man. All right, that's all I gotta say about that. Appreciate you listening. Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.